In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to use layout. The first things you need to do is make some views for layout. So let's go and make a floor plan. And what I would generally do to show off your floor plan is create a section. So get the section tool, put it on the ground plane, which points the arrows downwards, hold shift, and then zoom in and just click just below the top of a door, for example. Then turn the display of the section off and go to a top view. So this is the top view here. Then go to camera and turn off perspective. If your views aren't here, you can go to view toolbars and turn on the views tool. The next thing is to turn on hidden line mode, and that ensures that we only see black and white. And what I always make sure I do before sending it to layout is use zoom extents, and that ensures that it zooms in completely to fit the page, and you shouldn't have any problems with that. Okay, so once you've got that there, you can go then to scenes, click on the plus button, and we'll say save it as a new style, create, and we'll call this floor plan. Next we'll create a couple of sections. So go to the section tool again, and these will be like sectional elevations. And I want to have a look at this kitchen, so I can choose a plane, hold shift, and then click just before the kitchen. And even if I wanted to, I could then take that section further and cut through any part of the kitchen I wanted. Then again, turn off the display of the section, choose the elevation that it relates to. So sometimes you just keep clicking until you find it. And then again, you want to use zoom extents to fit it within the page, and then create another scene. Elevation 1. Okay, so create two elevations, and then I'm just going to pause and do the next one. Okay, so I've just done the next elevation, and then click add as well. Right click on the scene and press add, or you can just press the plus button in the scenes dialog and call it elevation 2. Okay, now our elevations have no color, so if we wanted to add color, we could go back to shaded with textures, and then right click on the elevation and then select update. Then again, it's going to warn us of a style change, so we'll go save as a new style and then update. And then instead of creating so many styles, we can then go to the styles dialog. So under styles, let's click on the next elevation before we do. Go to go to select, then home, and then we can click on another style there, and you should see color appear again. Then right click on your scene and select update. And lastly, we just want to create a couple of 3D views. So we're going to change the view, go to camera, turn back on the perspective, turn off the section cut display. And it's all about just showing off your model the best you can. So choose a couple of views that look really nice, and then again we're going to go to the scenes plus button, and we'll save it as a new style again and call this one 3D view 1. And then the next 3D view, what I could do is I could use on the camera toolbar, there's a little man here, I can click on that, click on the floor, and it puts me straight into the model. Then if I click on the zoom tool, you'll notice down the bottom here the field of view is 30 degrees. I can increase that to like 55 if I wanted to, and then you get a better field of view and you can fit more into your view. Then we're going to click the plus button again and create our second scene. Okay, now that we've created all of our scenes for layout, we can then save the file. So go File, Save. Then we can send it on over to layout. So go File, Send to Layout. Alright, so then once it's gone over to layout, we can go to the likes of title block, contemporary, and for this particular house we're just going to use the A4 landscape. But if it was much bigger, I'd say use the A3 landscape. So just be aware of that. You know what size building. Usually you work with A3, but in this instance I'm going to go A4. Okay, select open. And what I'm going to do is just adjust my interface to suit the recording edges. Okay, almost done. Okay, so I've adjusted the interface to suit. So in layout you can zoom in and out, you can pan holding the scroll wheel. But the coolest thing is once I click on that view, I can then go to SketchUp model, and then I can go down here and select the views that I want to see. And then just after that I could select what scale I want to show that floor plan. So maybe 1 to 50. And once it's done that, you'll notice as I've selected on it, it preserves the scale on resize, which is ultra handy. That ensures that if I adjust these blue boxes, that it doesn't change the scale. Another thing you may not have been aware of is that you can create nicer line works. So if I have it still selected, I can go to the drop down here where it says raster. You can't see it, it popped off the page, but then you can select either vector or hybrid. Hybrid's really nice because it gives you perfect lines, but it also maintains the textures. And if I just chose vector, it would just do perfect lines and it would just shade the colors of the walls, for example. So now what I want to do is dimension the floor plan. So before you dimension, I usually set it up. So you click on the dimension tool, and I usually for the styles of the dimension do forward slashes. Scroll down to dimensions and untick display units because we don't need to see those units. Select millimeter and then precision 1. Then go to text size. I would usually, if you don't have any nice architectural fonts, leave it on what it is, but we've got quite a nice one, which is an architectural type text font, and we are now ready to dimension. So to do the dimensions, you just click on one point, then the next point, and then move it up. And then once you've done that, you can then double click at the next point and the following point, and it will just keep adding dimensions. Just make sure you get the right points, and once you've got that, you could do an overall. If you're not happy with the leader lines here, you can double click on the dimension with the select tool and adjust those. And it's easier if you then escape as many times as you can to get out of that, and then double click on the next dimension and then bring it up, escape, escape, double click on the next one, and then you can just pull that up as well. Unfortunately, this is the only way you can do it with SketchUp at this present time. So I'm just going to line those all up. And why I do this is just to make it look as tidy as possible for the end viewer. Okay, so that's how you dimension. And next what we're going to do is we're going to add some fill to some of the walls. Just before I do, you can also double click on the dimension and replace the 90 if you need to, if it's just not quite in the right area. Again, that just makes it look much tidier. Great. So click on the rectangle tool, then we're going to go to fill because we want to make sure that it has a filling in it. Click on the color of the fill and then change that color to black. Then what we can do is just right click on white space and make sure object snaps ticked on. If it is, you can just press escape, and then we can just trace over the areas of the walls. Another thing you could do is turn off the stroke. If you don't want to see that black outline of the stroke, we could just go there and just start clicking over top of the walls. And this way, again, it's just about making your walls look as presentable as possible. And once you've done that, you can see it just makes the whole model just stand out. You can even do it for the doors. And also for the doors, you could add some arcs. So under the 2-point arc, 2-point arc, I'm going to click there, and just add that in there. But just before you do add those arcs, it would have been a good idea for me to just untick the fill. So let's just try it again. So arc tool, untick fill, and then I'll only get a line. And the line's quite thick, so I might just set that to 0.5 and 0.5. And just make sure when you're doing the arc as well that you're only using straight lines rather than forward slashes or anything. Okay, that's a bit better. Oops. Okay, so just go through and add all the fills to your to the walls and to the doors, and I just make sure rectangles got fill, and it's showing a different style, so just make sure fill's turned on and that stroke's turned off, which it is. That's better. There we are. Okay, so once you've done that, also it would be a good idea to add like text to the doors. So, to the rooms. We choose the text tool. Then you need to set your text up before typing. I might make it a little bit. Oh, that size isn't too bad, but maybe a little bit bigger. And then we can just type in labels everywhere that we need to. You can even type in sometimes the door size, so that may be an 18 door. It just helps your clients understand what size doors they have and just labeling it up. Okay, once you've done the floor plan, you can then add some more pages. So I could, from this page here, I could go to pages, duplicate, and it automatically duplicates that page. Then I could select everything, because what I want to do is I want to select everything and then delete what I don't need. And I might just go to layers and just make sure that my on every page is locked so I don't accidentally keep moving things. So I can select everything, hold shift and then click on the floor plan which I like to keep or would like to keep, and just delete everything else. So you can see up here, if I go previous page, I've still got the initial floor plan. Go to the next page, it's turned off that fill and the dimensions. Right click on the view and then I can select my next scene, which will be elevation 1. Alright, and since I made it from the floor plan, which already was set to scale, this elevation remembers the scale that it was set. So I'm just going to adjust the box and then drag the elevation up there. Then I can copy it downward holding control, right click on that, or go into SketchUp model and choose elevation 2. And I may need to adjust the box for this as well. Yeah, there we go. Just drag that over. Then again, you can add fill to the bottom of it. So rectangle tool, just add some fill over top of the floor. If you want to show walls, you know, to be quite thick, actually that was a door opening, you can just draw a wall like that. So you really show your user or your customer where the actual walls are and where the windows are. And also it's a good idea to label your elevation. You know, this may be the west elevation. And then you can set the scale as well. Scale 1 to 50. Okay, once you've got that, you can then duplicate the page again. So pages duplicate. Then you can delete one of the views. Select the view again, and this time I'm going to select the 3D view. And we do have some leftover fill, so we'll just select that and delete. Then in this instance we want to untick preserve scale and resize because we want the 3D view to adjust with the view box. So we'll just change that and that. And then we can copy that down. And the cool thing is I could select the two of them and just resize them together. And you can do things like, while they're both selected, right click and go align vertically. And then we can go right click again and just, and then we can move them down with the arrows if we wanted to. And choose a different view, 3D view too. There we are. And again, you may want to label these as well. And all the while I was working in a hybrid mode, so you can see that it's maintained the textures and perfect lines. But if your model's quite large, you may want to work in raster mode and then at the very end change it to hybrid. Lastly, you can then set the project name and title. So the author, you could go, for example, to text, customize auto text. The author, you could type in your company name or your own name, and then select close once you're done. What else is there? The project name, project title, how to use layout. Close that, and then you can see it's automatically changed every page. If I go to a previous page, it's now changed every page. You can see the company name. If I just unlock that layer again on every page, I can then just adjust that so that the company name fits in there a bit better. And then I could right click on that and go center vertically on page, so it's all in the middle, and then lock up the on every page again. So if we look back through it, we can see that we've got now our floor plan, elevations, and 3D views. We even have a title block page, but depending on how you want to do it, you may not use this title page. If you did want to delete this page, you could go to pages delete, and then you only have a floor plan and your 3D views on the back page. And then lastly, all you need to do is go to File, Export, PDF, and then give it a name. And you can choose the quality. I'd recommend obviously small for, or low quality for emails, or high quality for printing. We'll do medium for now, and it'll automatically export and open up that PDF so you can see it's all really nice quality. It's 100% accurate as long as you draw everything accurate. So it's a really nice presentation tool, SketchUp. One quick last thing I wanted to talk to you about is if you did need to make some changes to the model, you can right click on the view, any view, go to open with SketchUp. I've already got it open, so I'll just open it up. If I wanted to put a cup on here, for example, I could draw a cylinder, push pull that up, and then I could scale that down. Just a really rough cup. Then I can close down SketchUp and say save. Yep. And if you look now on each page, the cup will be showing depending on where the sections were, or the 3D view will show up for sure. There we are, there's a little cup. If the model doesn't update automatically, you can right click on the view and select update model reference, and if it still is not updating, you can go to File, Document Setup, go to references, and just check that your file is current. If it says missing, you may need to relink it to where it may have been saved. And of course you can edit the 3D model from here as well. You can update it from here, and you can purge any unused imagery or other items that are no longer in the file.